Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Beastly Eel, and in today's video we're going to be doing a Marvel character spotlight on Simon Williams, I should say. And he is also known as Wonder Man. So this is a long one. We're going to get right into it and then talk about what we're going to be expecting for his show coming out in the end of the year. So Simon Williams was the younger of two sons born to Stanford Williams, an industrialist who had founded the highly successful factory called Williams Innovations. Described as a stern disciplinarian, Stanford had high expectations for his sons and was abusive towards Simon and his elder brother Eric Williams, an experience that would cause Eric to in turn become physically abusive towards Simon. When Eric declined his father's offer to join the family firm, Simon, the more studious, less athletic of the two, readily accepted. When Sanford's Williams died, Simon inherited full control over the business, although he was only 20. Under Simon's inexperienced management, Williams Innovations began to lose its competitive edge in the marketplace to such rapidly growing firms as Stark Industries. Desperately, Simon sought his brother's aid, and the elder Williams agreed to offer his advice. Eric suggested to Simon that he embezzled some money from the company in order to invest in some business enterprises Eric had gotten wealthy from, namely the illicit racketeering run by the criminal Maggie families. Desperate to save his father's business, Simon did what his brother suggested. The company's board of directors discovered his embezzlement and the connection to the uh, Magia, and Simon Williams was brought to trial. Found guilty and facing prison sentence, Williams was released when Amora the Enchantress paid his bail and enchanted the authorities. Baron Zemo had read Williams's case and was intrigued by the newspaper's assertion that he blamed Tony Stark for his downfall. Dispatched the Enchantress to recruit Williams for the Masters of Evil. Zemo believed Stark to be the employer of his enemy, Iron Man. In fact, Stark himself was secretly Iron Man. Obviously, he doesn't know that. Disoriented by his upheavals in his life, Simon Williams agreed to accompany the Enchantress to Zemo's South American base. Williams agreed to be a test subject for Zemo's ionic ray treatment, a process that would endow him with superhuman strength and durability. After undergoing chemical and radiation treatments, Williams emerged with attributes he was promised. Zemo then gave him a costume and dubbed him the Wonder Man, and outlined his plan to use him to defeat his foes, the Avengers. To ensure Wonder Man's cooperation, Zemo told him that a side effect of the treatment that it gave him superhuman powers was that it altered his metabolism, so that he would die within a week unless he was given regular treatments of an unspecific antidote. Not wishing to die, Wonder Man agreed to Zemo's plan in a staged battle with the Masters of Evil. He won the confidence of the Avengers. I apologize, I got stuck for a second. When he explained to them that he was dying, the Avengers accepted Wonder Man into their ranks and unsuccessfully tried every means of science known to them to cure him. Soon Wonder Man led the Avengers into an ambush by the Masters of Evil. In the course of the battle, Wonder Man had an attack of consciousness and decided that he would not betray the Avengers' kindness to him, even if it cost him his life. Deprived of Zemo's life-prolonging treatment, Wonder Man succumbed to the mysterious side effect of his powers, telling the Avengers he was glad that his final act was a noble one, and Wonder Man fell still, displaying no vital signs whatsoever. Although the Avengers assumed that he had died and brought his body back to the United States for identification and burial, Wonder Man had actually gone into a death-like coma brought on by his still unstable mutagen changes triggered in his body. Sometime later, Williams's brother Eric, now known as the criminal Grim Reaper, retrieved his younger brother's body. The Reaper wished to use his brother's um, cryologically, cryogenically preserved body to bribe the Vision, the android whose artificial brain was cybernetically programmed with the memories and behavior patterns of Simon Williams, into betraying the Avengers. The Grim Reaper tried to convince the Vision that his consciousness could be transferred into Wonder Man's body, giving Vision a more human form. Later, the Reaper claimed that Wonder Man could not be resurrected. In order to have Vision's consciousness transferred into Captain America's body instead, the Vision pretended to go along with the Reaper's scheme in order to help the Avengers apprehend him. Well, the Grim Reaper managed to escape after an incident, however, took with him his brother's seemingly lifeless body. Now obsessed with the idea of reviving his brother by any means whatsoever, the Reaper took Wonder Man's body to New Orleans, hoping that the local Hunigans, basically the voodoo priests, I should have said that instead, could resurrect him. Led by the Black Talon, the leader of the voodoo cult, used their magics to reanimate Wonder Man, but as a mindless zombie. Frustrated by the imperfect result, the Grim Reaper had the voodoo doctors, or voodoo priests, um, instruct the semi-living being to accuse the Vision of stealing his mind. He then packed the body into a large crate and shipped it to the Avengers mansion. When the crate was opened, Wonder Man indeed um, was bid, um, but to no real effect. Wonder Man was there and basically tried to explain to everyone what was happening, and nobody really believed him. The Avengers subdued Wonder Man and followed him to New Orleans to investigate what happened. Curiously, as Wonder Man began moving about again, and after being exposed to the powers of the living laser, he began shaking off the effects of both the voodoo priest's magic and Barrow Zimmons' radiation treatment. Within a few days, Wonder Man was conscious and fully functional once again. Much to his surprise, the Avengers later examined him and learned that he had simply been in a coma while his body was fully metamorphosed from one of flesh and blood to one of unspecific superhuman flesh-like substance nourished by ionic energy instead of blood. He had to deal with a lot of drama going into that, and because of that, although he did join the Avengers once again, he did leave them again. This time when he left, he wanted to become an actor and went on into moving into being an action star, where he was actually doing his own stunts, mostly due to the fact that his body was very powerful. When Hawkeye went to Los Angeles to form the West Coast Avengers, Wonder Man was invited to join the team. Despite certain qualms about living up to the Avengers standards, he accepted. While helping the team in its struggle to establish its own identity, Wonder Man began to come to terms with himself as the role as the hero. He's made impressive victories over villains such as Graviton, Ultron, and even the Grim Reaper, um, where the problem was it really boosted up his self-esteem, and his stunt work served to remind him of how impervious he was to mortal danger. His turning point came when he was on national television to announce that he was guilty of embezzlement charge brought against him years ago, that he was sorry about it. Released from the grip of his personal devil of his past, Wonder Man was gratified when the public gave him a vote of confidence for his candid admission. Basically, they loved him. Wonder Man eventually left the West Coast Avengers again to focus on more on his personal life and acting career. However, it was derailed by when old foes such as the Enchantress and Goliath came into being. So then he started to have him go back into the Avengers once again and join the Avengers for what I believe was the third time. At some point prior to the disassembling of the Avengers, Wonder Man was manipulated into becoming involved in the retaliation of the assassin Ladyfair, and introduced her to the Avengers at Avengers Mansion, unaware that she was being used to try and kill the team. Lady Fear sacrificed her life to ensure the Avengers' safety rather than trying to kill them. She revealed to him that he was who was behind this plot as she died in his arms. During the Civil War, he actually was on the side of the Superhuman Registration Act. He had joined Iron Man and Miss Marvel, um, a team of registered superhumans. During this time, one of his mighty Avengers, Wonder Man, began a romantic relationship with Miss Marvel, warning her, however, to not use her position as leader of the Avengers to keep him out of potentially dangerous situations just because of his relationship. He wanted to be a part of all of it. He's gone toe to toe against Norman Osborn when he was trying to create his own version of the Avengers. and actually had to team up with his old West Coast Avengers teammates to actually defeat these new Avengers. He's just been a part of the Revengers. He's been a part of the Uncanny Avengers as well. He's even taken in part of the War of the Realms. He's gone, like I said, he's gone toe to toe against the X-Men and others as well, and even sorry, Wonder Man appeared with other members of the Emergency Response Squad playing a charity soccer match against the main Avengers team, which was disrupted by the Crimson Monolith appearing nearby, which garnered the attention of Tyrannus, who proceeded to invade the area with his army of Tyrannoids. Tyrannoids, sorry. Wonder Man initially protected people using his body as a shield, but Tyrannus was able to absorb into the monolith, and the Tyroids went rabid without his presence. Wonder Man entered the monolith after him. The monolith led to a kind of alternate dimension that ate both the Wonder Man and Tyrannus's bodies, nearly killing them both. Wonder Man managed to pull Tyrannus out of the monolith, ceasing the Tyrannoid's feral behavior, but the monolith still remained. Um, Wonder Man was next seen with She-Hulk investigating a suspiciously quiet Avengers mansion after Hercules and Mr. Immortal gave an update on the monolith. There, they had found most of the emergency response squad asleep under thick cobwebs. While trying to investigate, She-Hulk was soon affected by the cobwebs and fell asleep herself, despite Wonder Man's efforts. Wonder Man also succumbed to the webs, but not before using the Croatoan code to summon the mutant Summonus, um, taught to him by Hank McCoy in their brief interval where Hank was living with him. And that was the end of his comic book history. And he's been around since the 1960s. But let's talk about his powers. He is an ionic energy form. Basically, his body is entirely made out of energy that is pretty much powered by ion energy. He has superhuman strength, which has the ability to lift about 100 tons. He's been able to go toe to toe with Thor, Iron Man, um, Iron Man, Hulk, Red Hulk, Abomination, and even the Thing. He's superhuman leaping. Sorry, he can leap extremely far. He has superhuman speed, superhuman stamina, invulnerability, superhuman agility, reflexes, senses. He has energy vision, which makes him able to see wavelengths that regular humans are unable to do. He has self power augmentation in heightened senses of his mental unrest, I guess the best way to describe it. His powers can either become stronger or weaker based on it. He has the ability to resurrect himself. The thought is he is immortal because of that. He has a regenerative healing thanks to as long as he has enough ionic energy inside of him. He has the ability to manipulate energy. He can create energy constructs. He has electromagnetic manipulation, ionic blasts, ionic beams, flame projection, some shape-shifting and alterations, and he has the ability to teleport, although it's unclear of exactly how much of teleportation he's actually able to do. His abilities: he's gifted intelligence. He's an actor. He's a stuntman, expert combatant, and multilingual. Um, Anybody who uses energy weapons against him, he's most likely going to lose against. He's also a pacifist, and his mental illness is also a huge factor in being a weakness of his. Now, as always, Marvel does a power scale out of 7, so let's get right into it. His intelligence is a 4 because it's considered to be gifted. His strength is a 7 because it's considered to be incalculable. His speed is a 4 because he is at the speed of sound. His durability is a 6 because it is superhuman. His energy projection is a 2 because it's only on contact. And his fighting skills are a 4 because he's an experienced fighter. So overall, I mean, the big thing with Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man, is he's actor turned hero turned actor to hero again. So he's one of those where he starts off as like the entrepreneur and everything else, and then becomes the actor, then becomes a hero, or super being, I should say, then becomes a hero, then becomes an actor again, and then becomes a hero once again. So I'm very curious to see what they're going to do in the Wonder Man the movie, the show. But I'm hoping we're going to see a lot of that dynamic where we see him go into the role of wanting to be an actor to then becoming a hero, which I think they'll do a good job of. But let me know what you guys thought about this character spotlight down below. And if there's a character spotlight you'd like me to do, please let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.